Hi, everybody. Hi, all you students out there at Oregon Tech. Hey, we have a special guest in with us today to share some safe spring break tips. His name is Interpretive Ranger Tyler Compton. He is from Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. So the floor is yours.
Excellent. Well, welcome, friends. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for trying to make your spring break a little safer. My name, indeed, is Ranger Tyler Compton. I work down here at Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. We are about 15 whole minutes west of Redding, California. Now, a little bit about Whiskeytown. First off, us as Rangers, we get to have a lot of fun out here. Typically during the summer, we're leading paddleboard and kayak trips for you. Unfortunately, during your spring break, these won't be quite going yet, but if you bring your own kayak, your own paddleboard, that is a great option. Or you could go to the Oak Bottom Marina and rent a paddleboard or kayak. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit here. But a little bit of background on what we got for you today. Some important knowledge for you when you visit Whiskeytown, what's awesome to do here, what you might think about bringing, as well as how do you get here. So first off, we are a National Park Service site. We're a portion of federal land managed for you, the public, owned by you, the public. So we closely partner with Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Land Management, as well as the Forest Service. So one of the big things that we want to think about when we're visiting these public land sites is the 7 leave no trace principles. 1, plan ahead, be prepared. 2, travel on durable surfaces. 3, dispose of your waste properly. 4, leave what you find, so thinking about taking a picture of it. Number 5, minimize those campfire impacts. 6, respect some wildlife. And 7, respect others. The big thing that we're focused on right now, though, is planning ahead and being prepared for your trip, maybe here. So one of the first things to know is about 3 years ago, 2018, we had the Carr Fire. And unfortunately, this burned about 97% of the land base here in Whiskeytown. So if you've been to Whiskeytown a handful of years ago and haven't been since 2018, things look really different out here. And that's just something to be prepared for, as maybe you see photos of lush green forests of some of our trails. Well, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you they look a little different. Now, here at Whiskeytown, again, fire is a natural part of our ecosystem, so it's something that we prepared for, but it's also something that we need your help on, and that's where that reducing campfire impacts becomes a really important thing. If you are coming here to go camping, the only place fires are allowed is in those fire rings that are metal and there are in the campgrounds or picnic areas. Anywhere else, fires are not allowed. So please help us in making Whiskeytown a little greener over the next handful of years and only having fires where they are legally allowed, in the campfires, in the fire pits, in campgrounds, and the picnic areas. Now, there is a lot of really amazing stuff to do out here still in Whiskeytown, and let's dive right on in. So Whiskeytown as a thing is about 42,000 acres. The lake itself is 3,200 acres and is the main attraction here at Whiskeytown. We have about 70 miles of trails, 4 different waterfalls, and a lot more in between. So, unfortunately, again, with that Carr Fire impacts, well, that red area is what's still closed. So not all of the park is quite accessible yet, and we'll dive in, we'll cover a little bit of that. But there is still a lot of really cool spots like Whiskeytown Falls, Crystal Creek Falls, as well as some historic mining areas that you can check out along the way. But if you read something online and you get to a trailhead or a road that says closed to public access, what we're asking is that you please heed that warning. It is closed. It's for your safety. There's a lot of issues with things like debris flows and hazard trees, where in the event of a rainstorm or a windstorm, trees could suddenly start falling and try and attack you. A debris flow, so like an avalanche of rocks could start coming down a canyon and hurt you. And we want you to be safe. We need your help in staying out of these closed areas. We are actively working and trying to open them up as we speak. And over the next couple of years, it's a big time frame, we know, but over the next couple of years, we're going to be making a lot of progress on getting the remaining of these closed areas open. Now, some of the great trails that we have out here that also do deal with our historic mining areas are things like the Oak Bottom Water Ditch. It's about a 2.5 mile long end to end. So if you're to go round trip, it'll be about 5 miles. It's flat. It goes along the lake shore, and it is in a historic water ditch that the miners back in the 1850s used to move water from the rivers, creeks, and streams over to their mining sites to help power water wheels and things like that to crush gold ore and whatnot. Some of our waterfall hikes that are open are the Crystal Creek Falls over there on the left. That photo was taken about a month ago when we had an awesome little snowstorm, or the Whiskeytown Falls. Now, Crystal Creek Falls is a whopping whole 1/4 mile to hike out to. It is on a flat paved trail. It does have some really lovely pools that you can hang out in, depending on the temperature and what you enjoy. Same thing goes with Whiskeytown Falls here. The trail out to Whiskeytown Falls is called the James K. Carr Trail. Both of these trails are on the same road, which makes for a great kind of half-day adventure. The Whiskeytown Falls Trail, James K. Carr Trail, is 1.6 miles one way and gains 700 feet. So this is certainly a little bit more intense. You do climb some steep hills, so you'll get some exercise on it, which is great fun. But it is a little bit cooler of a trail because it's along some creeks and whatnot. And then again, ends up at an awesome waterfall. It's one of the tallest cascades in Shasta County here in Northern California at about 240 feet tall, whereas Crystal Creek Falls over there, again on the left, is about 80 feet tall. We also have a whole bunch more trails open. Probably about half of our trails are open total. A lot of the trails like the Mount Shasta Mine Loop in the southeast corner of our park are a great option for a 3-mile loop hike. But again, that main attraction here really is the lake itself, where folks are going kayaking, paddleboarding, wakeboarding, inner tubing, things like that, just hanging out along the beach. Some important things to know: that if you are going out on a boat, you, required by both the state of California and U.S. Coast Guard, need to have a life jacket, a PFD, a personal flotation device, for every person on board. So if you're going out in a kayak or on a paddleboard, and there's just one of you in that kayak on that paddleboard, you are required by law to bring a life jacket with you. If you're over the age of 13, seeing as how you're in college, I suspect you all are, you don't need to wear it, but you are required to have it with you. At the same time, since we're talking about safety, bringing a life jacket with you makes you 25% safer. The only way for that life jacket to actually do you any good is to wear it. So please wear your life jackets when you're out on the water in a vessel. What we think about is if you're on that paddleboard, if you're in that kayak and you tip over and hit your head on something, you could be Michael Phelps, greatest swimmer in the world, but if you're unconscious, that life jacket does you no good because you can't put it on. So please just wear your life jackets. Be safe out there on the water. Now, again, there are some places where if you don't have your own kayak or paddleboard or something like that, you can actually rent them here at the Oak Bottom Marina through Whiskeytown Marinas. The company is called Whiskeytown Marinas. You can check them out online. That's where you could go to rent kayaks and paddleboards or other larger vessels by the hour and tootle around and have a great time. One of the cool things that we do have out here is wildlife for you to check out and see. One of the things with wildlife on public lands is that we do ask that you keep your distance. Sometimes it's smaller reptilian friends like our alligator lizards or sharp-tailed snakes that aren't really going to cause you much of an issue, although we do have much larger reptiles that maybe you don't want to entertain yourself with. Things like rattlesnakes. Fun facts, young males between the ages of like 18 and 30 like me, we are in that category where we're most likely to get bitten by a rattlesnake because sometimes we make poor choices and try to pick them up. Please don't pick up rattlesnakes. I don't want you to have to go to the hospital because you got bit by one. And especially by the time we hit late March, that's when it's starting to get warm and the rattlesnakes are finally going, oh, yeah, it's time to get out and adventure. But it's still cool enough. They're a little more subdued. So if you see wildlife, please enjoy it with your eyes. Give it plenty of space, though. Sometimes it is wildlife, like a banana slug, that it is very reasonable to get up close and personal with. Take a look at it, enjoy it, respect it. It is really cool. Things like banana slugs have some great adaptations. They have this mucous membrane, that natural slime layer, that is a natural anesthetic, a natural numbing agent to help prevent it from being eaten by other predators. Some of the wildlife is on the total flip side of this. It's a black bear. We do have things like black bear and deer and mountain lions out here. Typically not an issue, but this is where you come in. If you are visiting out here, one of the ways that you can follow leave no trace principle number 6 is to respect wildlife, especially with larger wildlife like a black bear. We ask that you keep at least 50 yards, 50 meters away. A really great rule of thumb is the rule of thumb. If you stick your arm out in front of you, hold that thumb up, and you can cover up that wildlife completely with your thumb, you are now a safe distance away. So let's keep our distance from wildlife, but more importantly, don't let it get your food. You want that food for you. You are hungry. That food costs you money. Don't share it unless it's with your human friends. So make sure that your food is put away in your car, put away in the bear boxes in the campground, stored in a way that animals cannot get to it. Bears are smart enough that if you leave your cooler out, they will drag that cooler away and take all your food and sometimes even your adult beverages if you are over the age of 21. From there, we do have a lot of really cool history. And this is where we get into one of the other leave no trace principles of respect others. This also gets into some legal things of historic artifacts are protected here. We do have some remnants of buildings. We do have glass bottles and things like that that are considered historic artifacts that are great for you to come out here, explore, check them out, pick them up, take a close look at them, see what you can learn from them. But please put them back where you found them. So if you're out somewhere deep in the woods, our archaeologists can eventually find them too, or if they're in places that we know about, which I promise are most of them, future folks like yourselves can find and explore and learn about our history. Again, we have a lot of gold mining history here. The gold rush in Northern California is one of the reasons that this Shasta County, the city of Redding, and Old Shasta, and some of these other smaller towns in our area became as big and as populated as they are. Now, along with our gold mining history, we do have a lot of hazards. Luckily, we have blocked a lot of them off. Adits and mine shafts are one of the big hazards out here. Again, most of them are blocked off with these bat gates, so our friendly bats can get in and out and eat all of those insects that want to eat you, but it prevents you from getting inside of these places. A lot of these mines are nearly 150, if not 170 years old. They could collapse at any time. They have all sorts of noxious gases and toxic air in them, as well as other hazards. Unless you are a professional mine explorer, they do exist. They go through a lot of training. Please stay out of these locations. Please keep yourself safe. Please stay out of them, especially with the car fire. A lot of these mine shafts and adits, the horizontal tubes, have been exposed in our post-fire environment. And we're still discovering new ones that were totally hidden with bushes and whatnot. Look, this is another one where please look, investigate, see what you can see inside from a safe distance. Please don't go in these. Please stay alive. Now, some more technical stuff. What to be prepared for? Well, weather this time of year, it can be anywhere from 40 degrees to 75, or maybe a little warmer than that. If you're working in Celsius, that's about 5 to 25 degrees Celsius. We can see sun and rain right outside my window today. It's a beautiful blue day, a little bit of clouds out there. Yesterday was 75 degrees and bright and sunny, almost no wind. Right now, it's about 45 out there. My understanding is that's about the same temperature as it is in Klamath Falls. Over the next week or so, we are expecting a fair bit of rain. So what that means for end of March, it could be sunny, it could be rain. Pay attention to that forecast, but be prepared for sun, rain, temperatures anywhere, again, from 40 to 75. So for me, that would mean bringing a rain jacket, bringing some warmer jackets, but also bringing shorts and a t-shirt and some sunscreen. Weather's going to be all over the place. Just be prepared for it. Pay attention to the forecast. If you were to type in Redding, California into weather.gov or Wonderground, something like that, that'll all give you a pretty accurate and good idea of what our weather is going to be during your spring break time out here. Where to stay? Well, there's a lot going on. The good news is for us, we do have a couple campgrounds here that are currently open in Whiskeytown. Oak Bottom, Peltier Bridge, and Horse Camp are all going to be great options for you. They're about $20 a night, and you would reserve those sites through recreation.gov. Depending on the exact campsite, you can have up to 6 people staying with you in that site. So by the time you split $20 6 ways, it's actually pretty cheap per person. We also, if you're a little more adventurous, have a fair amount of Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management, BLM land nearby, where you can do dispersed camping. That becomes, again, a lot more adventurous because there's not going to be toilets. Fire rings are non-existent, so probably not having a fire at night. But oftentimes primitive camping, dispersed camping on Forest Service land is going to be free, which is another great inexpensive option. If you're like, man, I don't want to rough it, the good news is Redding is 15 minutes away and has all sorts of hotels. That one, you'll have to do a little more research on your own, though. Now, some things for responsible people. Some important things to know. First off, recreational marijuana is legal in states like Washington, Oregon, and California. That is a state thing. Here on national park land, on Forest Service land, on Bureau of Land Management land, these are federal lands. At the federal level, national level, marijuana is still illegal. So please, don't bring it here. Don't use it here. We will destroy it if we find you with it. Again, it's legal in the state, but it's not legal on federal lands. We don't want you to take your stuff. Just leave it at home. Prevent the problem. If you are over the age of 21, alcohol is allowed to be consumed responsibly here within the park. However, there are a couple places it is not allowed just because generally they're a little more populated. A lot of people visiting that area. East Beach, Brandy Creek Beach, and Oak Bottom Beach. You'll see the signs that say, no alcohol allowed here. It looks like a little martini glass with that slash through it. If you see that sign, no alcohol there. Same thing, if we find you with it, we'll probably tell you to dump it out. I don't want to take your things again. Pay attention, be responsible, all will be well. If you're bringing Fido, your dog, your cat, whatever, again, those same beaches, pets are not allowed on the beaches. It's a safety issue for us. All that pet waste oftentimes ends up in the lake. We get things like E. coli outbreaks, fecal coliform outbreaks in the water, making the water hazardous for you to enjoy. They're not allowed on the beaches. They are allowed elsewhere within Whiskeytown, but they must be on a leash. So if you got a dog or a cat, an adventure cat that you want to bring with you, you can. Again, just pay attention to the signs and all will be well. Keep them on leash. Maybe you're super fancy and you have a jet ski, a personal watercraft. Well, they are not allowed here on the lake, so please leave those at home. Another thing to leave at home are drones. I know, drones are super cool. The footage you get from them is also super cool, but they are not allowed on Park Service land. You cannot launch or land them is the technical language within a National Park Service site, which we are. So you can bring them, just can't use them here. One of the other things that's important to know is in order to visit Whiskeytown, you'll need to pay the entry fee. It is a $25 fee for a single visit that gets the vehicle and everybody inside that vehicle in. You can purchase it through recreation.gov. You can purchase it through yourpassnow.com. There's two options for most folks. There's the $25 single visit that gets you and that whole vehicle an entire week here in Whiskeytown. A better option, though, is that $80 interagency pass. It gets you and your whole vehicle into any national parks, national forests, Bureau of Land Management, Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Reclamation, and a couple more federal recreation sites for an entire year. There's room for 2 signatures on it, which means 2 different people can use it at different times. So you can split it a couple different ways. It's a great option. And the reason you might want to do that is because where is Whiskeytown? Well, we're that little red dot over there. Zoom in and we have some important dots. Well, you're that dot up there in Klamath Falls. That next dot south of you is Lava Beds National Monument. Rather close to you, they have an entry fee. That America the Beautiful Interagency Pass gets you into Lava Beds. It covers that fee. That dot right here is Lassen Volcanic National Park. It'll get you into there. The next dot kind of in the middle is us here at Whiskeytown. Way over there on the coast is Redwoods National Park. And then up there back in Oregon is Oregon Caves. These are all sites where that America the Beautiful Pass covers your entry fee. And this ring right here is kind of called the Ring of Discovery. It also gets you into Crater Lake National Park. And so these are some sites rather close by to you that pass would cover. It's also only a couple hours away. Oh no, my map. Well, I had a map with how to get here, but it's apparently not here. The good news is it's really easy to get here for you. You'll jump on Highway 97 southbound. That will take you to I-5. I-5 takes you south to 299 into Redding, and about 15 minutes on 299, and you're here in Whiskeytown. It's kind of that main vertical stripe south out of Klamath Falls. So it takes you about 2.5 hours or so to get from Klamath Falls. Let's call it 3 hours. Klamath Falls to Whiskeytown. Pretty simple. So if at this point you're thinking Whiskeytown is a great place to visit, awesome. Please come check us out. We're really close to Lassen Volcanic National Monument. There are a couple other great National Park Service sites on your way to and from Klamath Falls. Hopefully we'll see you out here at Whiskeytown during your spring break. Please be responsible. Please make some good choices because we want you to have a good time. We want you to have a safe time. That way you can continue learning all sorts of great stuff back at Oregon Tech. If you have any questions, you can give us a call. My phone number is 530-242-3462, and I can give you some more information about Whiskeytown, or you can email me at tyler_compton@nps.gov, and I can help answer your questions that way. Otherwise, thanks for checking us out. Hopefully you have a great spring break and have a good rest of your school year.